Brad from Orders from Headquarters. How we doing today? Man, what a good looking day outside. Sun's out, nice and bright. About what, 30 degrees, 36 degrees, maybe a little warmer. But not a bad day after all. I got a little heat going in the barn. It's going to be a fun day. I also picked up a lot of scrap. I also have a screw up. That's why I have these. I started making these birdhouses that, well, they were for a roof. I was going to make long story short, I messed them up. And I wanted to repurpose them. And I didn't want to tear them apart. I can make another one, but I'm just going to repurpose it. I'm going to turn it into a flower box. Basically, what's going to happen is I'm going to cut 45s on each side. I'm going to use tongue and groove board. I'm going to fill in on the bottom because these are all measured the same length. I'm going to set the tongue and groove inside, nail it down as a base. I might notch these out for the bottom feet. I don't know. I might get different. We'll figure it out how it looks. So, stand by. Let's go at it. So today we're going to start off with some tongue and groove cedar. I got two different types that I pick up from two different companies. One of them has a flat side, and the other one's V-grooved on the other side. Now, not all of them are that way. That's why I'm going to use them for two different things. One of the flat side I'm going to use for either the top or the bottom. You can do it either way, depending on what you like. I like the flat on the very top, so that way you don't have that V where your flower pot's going to sit. To connect everything, I'm going to be using either 1 1/4 screws or 2 1/4 screws. I also have these here. These tops are 9 1/4. They measure out 9 1/4. I'm going to cut a 45 on each end, and whatever that amounts to, I'm going to end up measuring from inside to inside when they're together. So, let me get set up. I'll cut these and we'll go from there. Stand by. Hearing protection going on. I got my safety glasses on. We ready to go. So, I set my saw up. She's already locked in. Got her tight. So it's going to start off, this corner here is going to get 45 beveled in. So here we go. Hold your ears. There we go, we got our 45s. Nice little angle. Now, I'm going to do the other side, and we'll have it. Now we got both of those cut. Let's see how they fit up. So I got the 45s cut, got really good sharp tight corners on there, and I'm going to measure it from inside to inside, which gives me 7 3/4. So it should be 7 3/4 both ways because it's square, and it is. So that's a good thing. So first thing I got to do is measure what boards I'm going to use. I picked this one here. I'm going to measure it out at 7 3/4. So let me get my marker. The handy dandy pencil. Got 7 3/4. So it should be right. Yeah. I'm going to need 2 of those, but I'm going to cut them one at a time. I could set up a stop block because that's what I did last time. So to set up this stop block, I'm going to set my board. I got it measured where I want. I'm going to go grab a clamp. And I have a handy dandy little board over here. Little 2x4 that I use for this. So, that being said, I'm going to try not to move my board. I'm going to leave it right there. And I'm actually going to do it this way because I think I got enough room. Now, depending on what clamp I got, it would go one way or the other. This one happened to be one of my short clamps, so this works out well. So, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to rip this. Oh, PPE, you know me. Got to put that safety gear on. So here is the first one. I'll slide the block over. I'm going to cut my second one. I'm going to check them, see how close they are. They should be spot on because this saw is pretty good. I like it. Now, between the two of these, I'm going to put them together. And I got to come up with 7 3/4. So, I'm going to cut one side of this on my table saw. Got to straighten that miter back out to straight. I'm going to move my board. I'm going to rip it. I'm going to rip it where she sits. So I take off that V. If you cut it on that V, you should end up right where that hole slot's at right there. So you cut that right off. So we're going to do it. Let's see what happens there. Need to move up just a hair, lock her in place, turn my saw on. Okay, so now that we got a good clean cut on there, we got to come up with 7 inches. I'd like to leave that in the middle if I could, so I might have to cut it one more time, but at least I'll have it in the middle. Now I got my tape measure. With it being cut, I end up with almost 10.5 inches. So I need 7 3/4. So I don't want a marker, I want a pencil. Here we go. So I need 7 3/4. I don't think that'll look too bad. It'll be almost in the middle if I put it there. So I'm just going to leave it at that. So now that I got that marked, I'm going to move my saw. And this should be 7 3/4. One more time, check, check, double check, because I don't want to cut it too short. But if it did, it's only on the bottom. I'm not going to feel bad. I'd feel bad, don't be kidding yourself. So lock the blade in. So you notice I'm going to have a lot more on one side than the other. I don't know that I really like that. I kind of don't. See what I got to play with. So I'm going to divide this in 2 and we're going to take that much off. So the total I got to take off is 2.5. So that'll be 1 1/4 off of each side that I got to take. So if I take 1 1/4 one time and don't move my saw, nah, that won't work. Now if we did this right, she should fit right in. It looks like I'm a hair long. I can deal with that. I'd rather be too long than too short. There we go. Just like that. So now we have the box put in. Now all I gotta do is screw that in there. I can do it from the sides. I'd already set these to mount when I was doing for the bird feeder. I was gonna use these screw holes that were on the bottom, but I didn't use it. But they come out perfectly for what this is. So we're gonna notch that out. But I think I want to get a little more decorative. And I don't know. I might just wait. I'll wait till the end to cut it if I don't like it. So I'm going to put the first screw in. I've used these two different style of clamps. I just got this one lately. I'm going to try it out. Them ones that are on the top. That corner set. Now I just move to the other set. Nice. I like how that's fitting. Now, when I made the original, I needed to have screws on both sides. I'm going to try it. I'm going to have to use a shorter screw though. That's where the 1 1/4 comes in. Because otherwise they'd be hitting each other. So now basically we have a miniature planter other than the top isn't screwed, so it'll still move because the two pieces aren't joined at the top. Now what I told you I was going to do, I was going to put a tab on this. So now you can be decorative if you wanted to at this point. I'm not going to be real decorative just yet because I got to cover these screw holes, but I want to use these screw holes so I can mount where it sits at in the inside. So again, I'm going to have to take and put a top on this thing, and I want to bring this top just a little bit past the edges. I'll go a 1/2 inch on each side. So if I remember right, it was 7 3/4 from inside. Let's see where we got on the outside. So I go a 1/2 inch on each side, puts me at about 10 and a quarter. Right at 10 and a quarter is the size I'm going to need. So, it should be that way all the way around. Half inch from there. Yep. So, we're going to use this first piece. This is not the one I want. This is a wrong one. This is a different one. Now, if you notice, I have two different styles of tongue and groove. I have a flat back that on this side is all flat. The other side's grooved. The one I want to use the flat one for the top, and I'll show you why here in a second. Let me get the 10 and a quarter inch mark. We'll splurge. We'll go 10 and a half. I know I'm gonna at least need 2, maybe 3. 10 and a half. Right there. There's one. Now you ask why I did 3. I don't think it'll take all 3, but I figure what the heck. I know it's going to at least take 2. But just like before, I had to have 10 and a half. So that being said, we got a ½ inch on each side. Now if I center this, so I got this on here. I'm going to end up going a ½ inch on each side. Good to go. I went ahead and marked this for this side I got to cut. I marked it for this side I got to cut. So we're going to notch that out. We're going to go from there. Now that I have the top where I want it, I'm going to go ahead and route this edge all the way around with a 1/4 inch router. So stand by. Let me get my router set up. I'll go around all 4 sides. So now that I have that cut, I'm going to do another cut. This is the template I used to cut out for the flower pot. And it's I usually just grab the flower pot and trace it, which I don't have it with me. So stand by. So you see I got a circle on here that I'm going to be cutting out. I measured over from this edge 5 1/8. 5 1/8. That gives me 10 1/4 total. That's the center of the piece. So I'm good there. I've already measured this. I got it lined up on each side. So I should be good. I'm going to trace this circle and we're going to cut it out. We're going to go from there. Now, you can cut this with a jigsaw. You can cut it with the bandsaw, which is what I'm going to do. I'm glad I don't have to cut the little boards. I only really have to cut out that little notch. There's nothing I have to cut out other than the circle, half circle. So I'm going to cut that out on here. Two pieces we need right here. So we are going to take this and fit it back into where it was. Slap our little corner back in. There you go. So she's going to look like that. Now it looks like I have to cut out a little bit of that notch right there, which I wasn't planning on, but I will. See how I have to cut that out, or that flower pot won't sit in there. Back to the cutting board. Now we're talking. So, now that we have it cut, all we have to do is try that flower pot. See if it fits. There you go. It'll fit just like that. There's no gap around it. I can live with that. That looks pretty good. So, basically the reason I like these, you can put them on the porch, that your animals won't be able to knock them over, especially if you put any weight in there. I put a couple rocks in mine because my dog's fairly big. She'll knock it over. You can put rocks in there. You can put dirt. You can put sand. You can put anything. Well, lucky for me, I use cedar, so I didn't have to worry about it. Don't have to worry about it rot. It's good for weather. It'll gray up. It'll look pretty. So, now I just got to figure out what I want to do with for design. I really want to dress it up some more and finish it out. I need to put a couple pin nails through here and glue it. And I'm going to use that Tight Bond number 3 outdoor glue. I'll do that when I pin nail it. So I'm not going to do a whole lot to it. I might use screws just because people tend to lift on this lip. And I don't want it to come apart. So I just might use 2 different screws. Put one on each corner. Might put one here, 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 and here. I don't know. I haven't really figured it out which way I want to go with it yet. Usually I just pin nail it if I'm at home. But if I'm using it for sale, I'm going to screw it. I'm going to put a screw in that way that it doesn't lift off. I can cover it up with a little glue, or I can countersink it and put a plug in it. Either way you want to do it, they all look good. It's outdoors. Just make sure you use outdoor glue and outdoor screws. You should be all set because cedar will eat through a screw. So I prefer using them little ring shank nails. They're stainless steel. Just drive one of them down in there and call it good. Don't have no... It doesn't have it, they won't rot out and it won't fall apart. So I think I might do that instead, but I'm still going to glue it with the outdoor glue. Either way, I know the screws I put in here before are going to work because they're the screws that I got out of it and we use them for work. So when I peel a bunch of these screws out of stuff that I bring home, so I have plenty of them that I take out of stuff. So I'm not worried about it because every one of these panels has got screw in it. So, I'd like to thank Cedar Works for that donation because I need all the help I can get. And that helps out. But I figured, a little love, you could put a little design on here. I don't know, I haven't really figured out what I want to do with it yet. So I might just leave it alone for now, but I'm going to show you some of the ones I made up. So, stand by.